Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, our website, or our social media. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a one-year-only 2019 variation of the FP Journe Chronometre A Resonance, sometimes known as the Resonance 4. This model right here is 40 millimeters in platinum with a symmetrical shape to its dial, but asymmetrical registers moving at 2 speeds. The resonance chronometer measures 40 millimeters in diameter by a compact and reasonable 8.9 millimeters thick, 48 millimeters lug-to-lug, 20 millimeters between the lugs. Now throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. This one-year-only model, which was the send-off for the old series before the debut of the 2020 anniversary piece. This is a big, broad, flat, and handsome watch with characteristic FP Journe style, but also the traditional quality of wearing well under a tight cuff or formal sleeve. FP Journe has always touted thin profiles in his watchmaking, and this watch is very much of the old school Journe philosophy. I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, and of course here's the head on, here's the down the barrel, and here's the cuff shot. Taking a quick look at the hardware and the software, let's get close right here. You can see this is an extravagant, handmade, Parisian-built Jean Rousseau strap. It features the pull tab spring bars as well as curvature of the factory Journe strap, as well as the factory strap's use of alligator leather on both sides, which is more expensive but more durable. Exquisitely, it contrasts in both color, cobalt blue gloss on the top with a contrasting stitch. You can see there's a folded edge, and on the other side, there's an anthracite small round scale alligator leather. Again, a more expensive strap, but designed to last longer than calfskin on the bottom. A simple, no-nonsense platinum pin buckle to match, and then a characteristic Journe case shape. You can see the Journe double dimple knurled crown used both for the winding and setting, as well as for the flyback system, and there are integrated lugs. Everything's of high polish. There's an overlapping lip to the case back and the bezel that helps define the mid case, and the bezel is entirely domed. It gives way to a white gold matte finish dial with individually black polished steel bezels for the 24-hour and the 12-hour time zones. You have the black polished dial side bezel bolts, a longtime FP Journe styling cue coined in the 1990s and subsequently copied by everyone, but Journe was one of the first with this design cue. Now the watch, 2 dials, 2 movements, 2 power reserves, no mechanical connection between them. The Resonance 1 and 2, which used first brass and then gold movements, featured 2 symmetrical 12-hour dials. The Resonance 3, which came out in 2009, late 2009, nobody loved that dial. It had a few fans, and I'm one of them, but for the most part, folks longed for the symmetry of the Res 1 and the Res 2, and thus the 24-hour scrolling second time zone gave way to a conventional 3-hand register with a sub-register for seconds. So from a distance, the dial looks symmetrical, but up close, you have the convenience and the practicality of a full 24-hour cycle, so you know whether you're looking at AM or PM, for example. And then you have a 12-hour format for your local time. The power reserve, as is characteristic of most FP Journe watches with chronometre in the name, well, it moves backwards. So when fully wound, it indicates 0 hours, that is 0 hours since it was fully wound. It has a 42-hour power reserve, and winding one side of the movement winds both sides of the movement, but the reason it indicates 0 when fully wound is because a marine chronometer or a navigation clock historically would have indicated 0 when fully wound, and you would have wound that clock exactly 24 hours from the winding every day. So it was important to know when 24 hours had elapsed because that was the time to wind the chronometer on a ship. Therefore, it was more important to know time since winding than power reserve remaining. Now, of course, you can set these 2 dials independently. You can set one that moves at half the speed, or you can set another that moves at a regular 12-hour pace. But because of the resonance effect, which couples the 2 sides of the movement, there is no mechanical link between these 2 independent escapements. The resonance effect requires about 7 to 10 minutes to couple the 2 sides, which means the second hands might actually wind up out of sync. There is a flyback trigger down at 4 o'clock that allows you to couple them. Wait about 10 minutes from the start of the watch and then pull the trigger. Flip the watch over and you can see this is a platinum case. FP Journe makes his own dials, makes his own cases, makes his own movements, and the movement is the 3rd generation 1499. 14 French lean in size, 1999 was the year work started on the first resonance movement. That's how you read the movement reference. 18 karat rose gold, yes, precious metal, rose gold bridges and plates, 42-hour power reserve on both sides. Each side adjusted 6 positions, which is superlative. 5 is high horology or chronometer. 6 is extraordinary. Both sides are free sprung for durability and precise adjustment. And you can see that each side is mechanically independent of the other. There is a rack and pinion at center with a gold pinion screw and then a rack that allows you to adjust the distance between the two balances to help tune the resonance effect, which was discovered principally by Antti Janvier and implemented in his pendulum clocks. And like pendulum clocks or metronomes in close proximity, these two balances and escapements will eventually synchronize. And once that takes place, if one speeds up or the other slows down, they will mutually reinforce to correct. Therefore, it is both a resonance watch and a chronometer. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.